they were really reluctant to go out there and buy a centre back. And I really feel that although they get a lot of praise for spending the money on Alisson and Van Dijk, those signings came off the back of the selling of Coutinho for 130 mil. It wasn't like they spent that money without recouping a whole load before it. They had money in the bank from selling players. And we know Liverpool are one of the best at selling average players. You know, you ask Bournemouth how good Solanke and Jordan Ibe are doing for 45 million, you know, So a lot of that spending was for money they've already generated. And I've seen this stat quite a few times on Sky Sports and, posts go out about the net spend under Klopp. And they're like, one of the lower teams, lower than Brighton and other clubs. So my question is, do you think Liverpool made a mistake in not tackling the issues of the team? And that normally what we see is well, before I give my answer, it's a bit interesting to see what your views are around the fact that their lack of, signing players. Obviously, they did get Thiago and Jota, but defensive cover, they got rid of Lovren. They never really tackled it.
Did they sign somebody from Schalke?
Kabak.
Yeah, we're talking about January, but really, in the summer, they lost Lovren. They look like their best up-and-coming defender. However, they sell as part of the deal with Jota. So you've sold your fourth defender, then you've taken out your best young defender as well, and you don't replace him.
But then he's got Reece Williams and Nat Phillips as well.
But both of them don't cut it. We're talking about Premier League champions.
Well, my thing is, I mean, clearly, all right, fair enough. Maybe they were left a bit short, and they only had 3 players. Maybe Klopp thought we can ride the storm and look into a bit more probably in January or so on and so forth. But clearly, Liverpool, knowing that there was so many issues with their defense, it surprised me the fact that they waited until the last day to complete deals. But that's where my question is why? What if you know and if you've identified the issue? Why not get it done as soon as possible and get the fourth defender in if that's been the problem since the summer?
I genuinely don't think they were going to sign defenders. I think under fan pressure. The moment Klopp said, I don't make the decisions about signings, did you suddenly hear Liverpool going for defenders? Because suddenly, and this is the reason why I asked the question, I'm a big Klopp fan as a manager. I think he's an amazing manager. What he did at Dortmund was amazing. What he done with Liverpool is amazing. But what surprises me is how much of the pressure is being directed at Klopp, like as if Klopp is the guy who's making the decisions. At Man United, no one is going to put that pressure on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because they all know it's Woodward who's making the transfer decisions.
Yeah,
it's Woodward doing the negotiation. When they took so long with Fernandes, everyone knew it's because Woodward is taking long with getting the deal done. So you don't necessarily get that pressure. The Ole doesn't get that. But with Liverpool, the pressure is all on Klopp. It's like everyone blames Klopp for it. And I was like, it's clearly not Klopp. And until he said it, did they decide to get centre-backs?
I mean, so Maruf, I mean, does that? I mean, it clearly looks like more like a panic buy than anything. I mean, because on the day that they were targeting the 2 defenders, they confirmed that Matip will be out for, I think, about another 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think it's yes, it was a panic buy, but I think Liverpool are very specific on who they buy. If they feel the individual that they've targeted doesn't fit their system, I don't think they'll purchase them. I think Diego Jota was one that they saw in long term. He perfectly fits with Liverpool's system, the way they play, how direct approach they are. Hence why they went and purchased him. And I thought that was a great purchase. But with regards to, I think Ozan Kabak was a bit of a panic buy, and the commotion that was created within social media, like the likes of Twitter and everything else, I think it was more of a panic buy from the top heads of Liverpool. But in terms of did they need replacement and should they have addressed it during the summer? I completely agree with Adil. They should have.
I mean, the thing is, when you win titles, everyone knows it's important to spend money, replenish the team, not necessarily get starting players. It's really important to get young blood in, really good players that have got the potential to, and what that does, that rejuvenates the team. And one of the things that really frustrates me is this. I hear a lot from Gary Neville. This talk of Liverpool having this third-year dip. If you see the start of the season, there was no lack of motivation or no dip with Liverpool. This was a motivated team that has been ripped of their central defenders, and naturally that has affected their confidence and their ability to win matches. Is that the only reason? Of course not, because their attack is also struggling. But what I don't understand is why Liverpool winning the league, winning the Champions League, they're not lacking in any money. I mean, this idea that they lack money is ridiculous. You have to have a big club mindset. You're winning the big titles. Why take a risk going into the season with Reece Williams and Nat? It makes no sense. Knowing Matip is injury prone, you've just sold Lovren. Gomez has had a lot of unfortunate long-term injuries. It just doesn't make sense the way they approach. And then they get Kabak in and they get Davies in, and you hear nothing but Edwards, Marcus Edwards, or the director, sporting director, or the chief who does all the transfer, getting so much praise again. Oh, he got two. You've lost the title. What is the point of getting these defenders?
Kabak started then? Because I know earlier, Ado, you made a point about Fabinho being risked in and rushed in to play. Should Kabak have started?
Yeah.
But I think we'll never know. Kabak would. There's a question. There's a question mark to say, was he even match fit? Because he's having to come in, self-isolate. I don't know the protocols that is actually available. So, and is he the fix? I mean, Schalke are bottom of the German league. They've conceded the most goals last 2 seasons. The teams he's been in last 2 seasons, part of the 2 worst defensive teams.
This sounds like a Lovren story all over again.
So I mean,
I think there's potential. There's good potential in the player, but it's just the fact that a lot of questions need to be asked about the board at Liverpool more than club. I get surprised at the amount of pressure and the amount of people questioning Klopp after everything is achieved.